Thank you, Anatoly. And Jellly's father over there, David. Fantastic stuff coming out. It's always good to see different people and different folks. I know Aircougar also has his girlfriend here, and Dwurst's mother. And again, Dwurst's mom has been here pretty much the whole time.
It wouldn't be a LAN without Jellly's dad and Dwurst's mom. Like, they're just a part of the crew now. You know what I mean? They've been here for every LAN, and it's really cool to see the support.
I mean, you've been around just as much as some of the other players. This is actually, I don't mean to rub it in, but this is only the first LAN that you guys have missed.
Yeah, that I have missed as a player, and it's tough. You know, I want to be playing it. I really get the itch to play Smite. Watching watching Clow's Vulcan has been really impressive. I'm like, man, my Vulcan sucks. I want to go play Vulcan.
Oh wow, I thought you were gonna be like, no, I'm better than Clow. I should be on that team.
Okay, look.
Game 3, we're just gonna see like Aggro get off the desk, just like Clow, you're done.
Tagged out.
Only if they need a Janus.
Let's go. Let's switch
Only
it up.
if they need a Janus. Clow's Janus is something else.
But I do want to talk about something that Jellly's dad mentioned is the level-headedness from Eager. They dropped this first game, and that's what's gonna help them, right? Just making sure that they can stay calm, because there are those teams that get into their own head, especially teams that got off to a very good start with that early Gold Fury. I don't think this is gonna hurt Eager at all.
I really don't. I think the leadership core there is very, very strong. The core of the team really being Dwurst, Jellly, and Aircougar, and the latter of which, Aircougar, who we're looking at right now, I love what Smite console has done for him. He started off on the PC side of things, trying to find a spot, and was really sort of like the youngin', the kid that wasn't in the higher class of players that we're used to seeing on PC. Transition over to the console side. He's one of the leaders of this scene. He's a leader for his team, and he's done a very good job for Eager.
And he's done a lot of aggressive laning matchups against Transonics there. You could see him really trying to get the better of Trans, but Trans able to hold out and translate into those mid-game fight scenarios very well.
I got to give Transonics, my man, some credit. So on the previous team he was on, his hat matched his jersey. Now he changes to black and red. He gets himself a black and red hat and a red bag of Skittles. My man knows how to color coordinate.
And some like Pokemon slippers. He's not wearing them today, but he was wearing them yesterday. Don't ask me why, because I don't know. But that's Trans for you, man.
Trans playing very well. You know, he's been a part of the scene for a while. One of the 2 Xbox natives on his team, himself and Wolves. And those are, it's funny because they're the primary carries. Transonics doing a lot of kind of looping around into the back of fights. Surprise, I'm here with my Freya and just killing someone. Sometimes it doesn't really work for him, but a lot of times, just like that last game, it does.
Yeah, he really comes out of that COD scene, so really a lurker trying to find those shots. And a quiet guy, relatively quiet as compared to Delta Marine. He is formerly known as Unrelinquished. He's seen experience on both sides of the coin, both PC and console, and I think he's really found himself a comfortable spot here, both gameplay-wise and friendship-wise, amongst the guys on Team Eager.
He seems to fit in really well with them, been playing well all season. And that last game, though, is kind of like a microcosm of Smite. Most Wanted was diving Delta Marine better than Eager was diving Clow. You saw Delta Marine constantly getting dunked on by Thor, constantly getting bird bombed.
To be
Smite
fair,
through the eyes of a mid laner.
To be fair, it's also Odin and Thor as an Isis, right? You pick up Isis and, you know, you load into your game and you're like, Odin and Thor are like, man, I'm going to have a lot of deaths this game.
It's also Susano, Fafnir, Ravana against Vulcan.
That's true.
So both sides of the coin there.
But the Cloud baits.
I'm just saying, I think Smite's a little bit more intricate than which mid-mage gets dove a little stronger. I think you're a little biased, though.
Okay, I need the high-res stat crew to help me out here. I wonder how many teams win when their mid laner has significant, like, let's say 3 more deaths than the other mid laner. I'll bet you it's really, really rare.
If you're losing the game, your mid laner's probably dying a lot. That's one mindset to have.
It's the easiest way to lose a game in Smite is have the mage die.
Looking at this, though, you already see the adaptation coming out from Eager. Immediately the ban on Vulcan. But Most Wanted, they have no reason to change up their strategy too much from that. Obviously, Clow will have to play something else. I feel like it's going to be the Zhong depending on how this kind of goes on, but they still have the Guan Freya.
I'm not sure if it's going to be the Zhong
maybe not,
because that's a big change in playstyle.
Raijin?
But you know what I think, if not Raijin, what I think surprise pick will come out of Clow in the mid?
Are you going to say Sobek right now?
No, I'm going to say, no. I don't actually think the Cloud back mid is going to happen. But I think Poseidon is a character that is possible to see in the best of 5. A very similar gameplay style to Vulcan, big burst.
Interestingly enough, Poseidon does have a favorable matchup against Fafnir because as he's transforming, you can lay the whirlpool underneath him, and as soon as he turns into that dragon, he's crippled, and he can't jump away right away, and you can crack him. So, I mean, it's tough to like balance when that'll kill him and when it won't, because if you burn that on just Fafnir, and then he lives and double stuns you and Nemesis ults you because he has that in his kit and kills you, then you're in a lot of trouble.
You seem to not like Fafnir.
I don't like a lot of gods, and they are all not mages.
Anything that kills his mage, right? Which is...
How do I run away from Fafnir, man? He's a dragon that has 2 stuns.
At least he doesn't fly. Just be thankful that he doesn't fly towards you.
He may as well. Do you see how far that 3 is?
It's called falling with style.
Yeah, exactly.
Eager have actually made up a change themselves. We actually see the Chronos drafted very early on. This is something that Most Wanted banned away from them last time. And once again, I think it's a little bit of a flex. We don't see Delta Marine play it as often as Aircougar, but he does have that god in his god pool.
I'm interested to see if Most Wanted's going to ban away a Willish, because as soon as I see Odin, I think we need to pick up a Willish to completely negate his engage. It would make camping the solo lane really, really, really easy.
Absolutely, and as we head into that second round of bans, certainly going to be available an option. Team Eager, so far they've got the Fafnir, the Chronos, and the Raven. Raven for Dwurst is pretty standard, but the Fafnir Chronos, a little bit of a change, allowing that early pick for the Mage Hunter. Most Wanted, they've got everything they took in game number 1, Guan, Freya, and Broden.
Eager, recognizing that their magical ADCs were banned out by the time that they got to the second picking phase here last game, so they wanted to ensure that they got at least one with that Fafnir, and that is a flex pick. Aircougar plays it well, and Delta Marine plays it well in addition to that, so it could go either way. A nice flex pick for Eager.
Putting it lightly, I think Delta Marine plays Chronos like fantastically well. There's the Wheelish ban from Team Eager.
Like I said, it just completely negates Odin's engage. So now, Eager's got to be looking at what they want in the jungle. Most Wanted going to go with the same exact comp thus far.
They've got the same 4.
Going for Thor.
And it's just, there's so many mages left open that Clow really doesn't have to go super deep into his god pool. Obviously, his Vulcan's banned away, Chronos is gone, and then that's it, right? Raijin is still up. We saw Clow really use Raijin. And you want to know what else he played a lot of, although we haven't seen it in a while?
Are you going to say the Sobek?
The Zeus.
The Zeus.
He used to play a whole lot of Zeus, combine it with Odin, as well as the Thor to protect you, and the Guan Yu heals. And Eager actually do draft into a Fenrir and a Raijin, which might dissuade Clow from not going Zeus.
I love that early game as Fenrir and Raijin because you can just pop Ragnarok. Okay, so Eager did this to me once, and I was like, I literally had no counterplay. I get jumped on by Fenrir, he goes up into Ragnarok, I have to purify that, right? And then Raijin's just sitting there already in his ult, like has his sticks, and then just taunts me out from my tower because you don't have purification available. You didn't think the Zhong was coming? I was pretty sure the Zhong was coming.
No, he didn't think the Zhong
I certainly did not.
You didn't think so either. Okay, yeah,
What?
you're right. I'm just kidding, brother. yeah. Cloud really comfortable on the Zhong Kui. Eager really does not like playing up against it. I'm kind of surprised they left that open for him. But just a comfortable guy.
Jellly does not look happy right now.
It's just really annoying to play against because he's so tanky, and Clow is, again, you get the Clow vision, you get the Clow syndrome, you want to kill him, but you can't because he's Zhong Kui.
I wonder if Clow has planned this from the start, like, I'm just going to make it so everyone wants to kill me when they see me pushed up.
Okay, but
3
it's not,
years in the
I want to
making.
clarify. It is not personal against Clow. I like him. I like being around him. He's very funny.
But he pushes up as a mage.
But he
like,
pushes up as a mage, and it's just like, yeah, this is a free kill, but he's got like 2 tank items in Wingblade, and now he's Zhong Kui, so we can't really do anything. And look at the giant AoE ability that Most Wanted have right now. You get locked in the Odin cage, and then Zhong Kui just like trots around shooting ghosts everywhere. Thor dunks down, hits you with the spin to win. They've got a lot of circles that Eager needs to be careful of.
I will say, though, the Odin going to be, I think, a little bit less effective than it was last game. Obviously, Fafnir, Fenrir, Raijin all have those jumps to get out. Ravana as well has his ultimate. Chronos, it's a little bit different, but with Rewind, most of the times you land outside of the cage if you just kind of get surprised, jumped on.
I'm looking at this game on Myflin. He has the positive matchup against Odin, but he's really been really quiet in the early game for the most part so far this land. It really has been taking him until 25 minutes to make a big impact, and on Fenrir, you cannot wait that long.
And we did see the switch up in style, and first game, I think the plan was to not be too aggressive, just set up for those early objectives. The second that second objective went the way of Most Wanted, we saw Myflin really start to pick up the pace. Try and look for kills on Clow. We got a couple. Try and look for kills on Transonics. Not so successful. I think he's got to be playing at that pace from the start start of game 2.
I think this one is going to be even faster, Kevin. Myflin, when he picks these gods, when you see him pick the Fenrirs, when you see him pick the Najas, these gods that possibly can be aggressive, with Myflin, there's no question. He's going to be hyper-aggressive. I really and truly expect 100 miles an hour from minute 1.
Going to the joust meta sort of thing that Cougar kind of likes to play in this duo lane, he likes to start that itch of all.
Yep.
Chronos has a very favorable matchup against Freya because it's really easy to force this purification with your stop time, and then once she ults, you just ult, get all your cooldowns back, and now she's dead in the water. So that's a very positive matchup for Aircougar, so we'll see if he wants to take it.
Yeah, Chronos also has those tools in between his basics, right? You use Accelerate and you can basic, and then you've got spells available. Freya just kind of has to play it safe, whoop in between her pulse or radiate. So just more tools for Aircougar in general in this lane.
That being said, though, Freya also pretty decent against Fenrir because it's really impossible to brutalize her because she's going to whoop you as soon as you put you can't miss it.
It is a pretty long cooldown, though, so you do always have to be kind of aware of that timing. And maybe when we actually see Transonics very liberal with using that ability, even in lane, just to annoy people and set up the smallest bit of poke damage. That's a call that Aircougar needs to make. Hey, man, he's whooping me in lane every time. Make a rotation over. This is going to be a guaranteed kill.
Dwurst versus Wolves here in the short lane, excuse me. Same matchup that we saw last time around, but this time different characters surrounding these players. So for now, this will be the exact same game that we saw earlier, but as soon as it goes into team fight world, completely different rules.
And that's fine for Dwurst because he did a nice job of making sure that he, in fact, stealing away 2 speed buffs on the invade from Most Wanted. It looks like they're going to get a little bit of pressure in the mid lane and go for the back right Harpies.
This time, Eager is not waiting at all, right? They're not going to try and play the objective game. They do have the Wrath on Myflin, but they're like, we can't just rely on that Gold Fury, because if we wipe once, it's game over.
Like I said, once you give Myflin a character like Fenrir, from minute 1, he's going to be going 100 miles an hour. He's looking for every little small invade, every little small gank is going to be on the table. Transonics in trouble already.
The body blocks.
Strong body block by Jellly, but as soon as he realizes there's an entire wave, plays it safe.
Great job there, just forcing out that purification. Transonics had no choice but to use it because Jellly jumped right on top of him, disarmed him during the Pulse Irradiate combo, which is an underrated part of that matchup. If you can even cut off half of that uptime for Pulse, it really cuts her DPS.
Look at this as well. You actually see Myflin kind of hanging around the left-hand side, but with Transonics having already forced his purification, you could see him starting to play much more passively in this lane. He's kind of at his tower's edge right now with the Guan Yuso, already adjusting to not having that safety.
And he's okay with that. He's used to playing a really safe, or like not. I don't want to say scared, but passive laning phase.
Okay.
He's totally okay with just sitting under tower and letting the minions come to him.
Wolves healing this one back and forth. Nothing really scary for Wolves at the moment, or even later on. I mean, a gank by Fenrir onto the Odin is not going to necessarily be a death sentence for him, so he can afford to push this up and use the Raven Shield a little liberally.
In some ways, yes, but also you have no CC immunity available as Odin. You can get picked up immediately as with Ragnarok, so he has to be really careful about using that jump, because if he uses the jump to clear the wave, Fenrir can be there, and then he's got no way to get out of that opposing tower.
Interesting enough, neither soul laner has picked up teleport just yet. Obviously, you do, maybe I need that option to save it, but most of the time we actually just see solo laners pick up their teleport from rank 1. This could be something where if one of them get a lead off of one of the ganks from the Thor or the Fenrir, they might just go, I don't need teleport.
Especially Dwurst will usually wait on that relic choice, but Wolves usually will pick up that teleport right away if that's what he feels like he needs. A nice red buff invade, using that pressure that they gained earlier in that left lane by forcing the purification. Freya cannot get anywhere near that without dying.
Again, this has been Eager's plan from the get-go, letting Myflin really off the leash, just letting him do whatever he wants to do. Invade, go for kills. Delta Marine gets a huge chunk taken out of him thanks to Clow's exercise and about half HP. Myflin also going to have his ultimate immune by the beads out of Clow. So well done for the mid lane on Most Wanted.
I think Myflin only goes aggressive there because Clow had no mana. If Clow has mana, we likely see that fight turned in favor of Most Wanted. He could just run forward. Myflin had used every single escape, and the ghosts just get released.
Not only that, but Clow had just used the Exercise Demons, that second ability. That's at this point in the game, that's his only significant damage. Even the ultimate really tickling at level 1. So once he had used that second ability to poke out Delta Marine, Myflin knew he was safe to get aggressive.
poke out. I mean, that did a ton of damage. Is Eager going to have to be afraid or aware of Clow's presence in the mid lane this early? Because usually Zhong hits it in the mid game.
I think they just need to be aware, right? They need to make sure to look at the cooldowns he's been using to keep track of his mana. Can he use ult here? It's not like a Vulcan who's going to be able to immediately burst you. There's actually a significant amount of counterplay against a Zhong. That's why Giannis has a very good matchup, because he can portal not only himself out of the range of the ghost, but also his team.
One of the best counterplays against Zhong, though, is the shell, and I'm very surprised to see Jellly not elect to pick that up first. Electing for the sprint, but shell is almost a necessity against Zhong. You pop it, especially before level 12, and it just like, it's negligible damage. It's tickling you.
At the same time, though, I do have to give shell, or excuse me, sprint, still a decent leg, because mobility is actually the strongest counter to Zhong, right? That damage is significant from his ult, but it comes out over a extended period of time, and it's in only a range circle. So if you can pop sprint and just be fast enough to get away from him, that's a win.
But if you do pop shell and it's this early in the game, it's really easy to just kill him. The ghost stop coming out whenever he's dead. He's really not that tanky early in the game. In this like mid game, now that he's got this full passive up, he does have those additional protections, but you have enough base damage to kill him if you can pop that shell.
That said, Zhong over in the mid lane. Right now, Jellly has to worry about the Freya, and the sprint is going to help both run away from Freya with that Fatalis and also run into her if Aircougar really has his spells up. So the sprint effective immediately.
The team definitely needs a sprint, at least overall. I do agree with you that a shell will likely be coming out second from Jellly, or at least someone else, but you have the slows on Freya, on Guan Yu, on Zhong, and on two Wolves. Like, there is a lot of slows in the game.
You can make an argument for buying sprint when they have no slows on that team. It is that strong of a relic just for engagement, disengagement. It can do everything really well, but I still think the shell was the right call to start out with.
A lot of aggression coming out from Eager right now. Oh, Transonics already forced to ult, and Delta Marine, it looks like he's setting up for the kill, but he's going to let Myflin secure it deep into the tier 2 tower. Brutalize, secures first blood.
xCynosurex comes right on top of Myflin, and Matt Koiz answers right on back, putting the dog in the pound.
Definitely worth it there for Eager, getting that first blood onto Freya. Not only do you get the first blood, but you also get the additional gold off of Freya. You want to keep her down as much as possible at this point in the game.
And Chronos stays alive as well. Aircougar is going to get a lot of free farm to just solo and soak up, and like you said, it's all about shutting that Freya down. Aircougar already had that favorable matchup in the laning phase, and I'd like to see him abuse that.
I'm loving, again, we saw this yesterday with Watson.
Do it, Dwurst.
These solo laners love to fight. Dwurst gonna jump right on top and backflip out of the other jump, but here it comes. This is competitive. Ain't no such thing as a 1v1. Dwurst gets help for the jungler, Wolves goes down.
I'm going to give Dwurst maybe more credit than he deserves, but I'm pretty sure he did it too early intentionally. Wanted to make sure that he made Wolves jump on top of himself so that he wouldn't have it to get away, knowing he still has that immune available, not worried about that damage whatsoever.
Knowing these guys, honestly, I might have to agree with you. Certainly a big play.
Okay,
Cloud jumps to the 3, throws out the ultimate. This is a bad spot for the mid lane. Ultimates come out, and Delta Marine puts number 3 on the board for Eager. Cloud falls down.
You talked a lot about Cloud Vision, and sometimes having that Cloud Vision pays off, and Eager wasting no time. He's pushed up by himself, and actually, Cloud was the one who forced that fight, surprisingly enough.
There's a big difference, I think, from putting your crosshairs over somebody else and then somebody walking into your crosshairs. And that's what happened to Cloud right there.
And you mentioned the playstyle difference. Sometimes when you go on a character like Zhong or maybe a Hades mid, you're like, yeah, I'm big and tanky. I can take on 4 people at 8 minutes. And then you get absolutely shredded. You're like, all right, we're going to just try and reel it back a little bit.
But once again, I'm still just really surprising that I would go aggressive against Delta Marine there, because I don't think he had the damage to kill him, even if he connects his entire ultimate, as well as Delta Marine has that Thunder Crash. I think Clow in his own head a little bit. We did see that last game as well, when they were fighting without Wolves, just trying to force engagements that they just feel confident in because they're comfortable at their current pace.
Myflin doing a much better job putting the pressure onto this left-hand lane. You're going with the same strategy that they had yesterday. Let's let Wolves be Wolves. He could do whatever he wants in that solo lane, but we are not going to let Transonics free farm, and he's doing a much better job of that this game than he was last.
Yeah, a lot of times we've seen Trans on this fray. He's just been really left unchecked, and it doesn't matter if you're Transonics or a nobody. You can't let Freya go unchecked.
And to be fair, leaving Wolves alone to do his own thing, I mean, Dwurst is handling him really well. He's got a 2-level lead, as well as a couple hundred gold. I think that's, what, 800 at only 9 minutes? That's significant. That's adding up.
And that's the losing lane for Odin. For once, Wolves gets the non-advantage in the lane, and Dwurst really capitalizing on it and pushing that lead, much like you would see Wolves do in that sort of scenario if it were flipped.
That said, Odin, he's a cage, right? I mean, you've really driven that point home this weekend, is that as long as the cage is there, Odin's able to do what he wants. Different story, surrounded 2v1, not too many tools available. Jump followed up by a jump, a couple of basics, and Dwurst will finish it off. Down comes the jungler. Now it's a 3-on-2. Myflin very low. Koiz doesn't have the damage, so Myflin will be safe.
Wrath coming into a big play there. Left-hand side, though. Transonics just going to whoop Aircougar. Looks like he still wants to fight, but just waiting out that accelerate for now. But the Wrath actually managing to save Myflin in that situation.
The biggest difference for Most Wanted in this game, for me, is the lack of damage out of the mid lane. Clow on the Zhong isn't having the same effect that he did on the Vulcan.
I don't know if I agree with that, because if you look at the player damage charts, he's actually second. He's top on Most Wanted, and Vulcan's not really that early game damage god anyways. If he were on the Isis, it would be a lot different. And now he's going to be forced to ult as Dwurst, just making the rotation. Dwurst is looking a lot like Wolves right now, just doing whatever he wants.
Really good positioning direction from Clow. If he walks into his tower, which a lot of mid laners do in that situation, Delta Marine and Myflin were already waiting for them. He knows that Dwurst isn't going to have the damage to kill him if he retreats to his tier 2 tower instead, taking the safe path and making sure he doesn't die.
Going back to that Zhong damage, yeah, sure, he's number 2, but that's the second time he's used his ultimate in a situation that's not really going to affect anything. The damage up there, I mean, damage is damage, but fake damage, we usually say, with respects to solo lane. I think we're seeing a lot of this inconsequential poke come out of Zhong, but despite the fact that Vulcan's not an early game god, we saw these plays out of Eager last game, and Vulcan was able to make the rotation, pop somebody up with a meatball, and then the team follows up and finds the kill. Not the case with ZK.
To be fair, he's going for the Cloud 1.0 build and not the Cloud 2.0 build, as Aggro dubbed it. So no do-more this time, just going straight into those early protections from Dynasty Blade Helm and extra health from Wingblade.
I haven't experimented with it a lot, but since Uncommon Sash, Warlock Sash 2, if you will,
it's good.
Actually got buffed where it's only 1350 gold and you can get 3 pots off the rip, I'm kind of curious to see if that's the right start for Zhong these days. Rushing that Warlock Sash, kind of conceding that early game. You only need a little bit of gold after that for the Warlock Sash, so I'm kind of curious that he didn't go for that, but maybe he hasn't done the testing on it either.
Exactly. I think the Zhong is just one of the older Cloud gods, right? Maybe he hasn't been trying the new innovations and everything, just falling back onto what feels safe to him.
Look at this pressure come out from Myflin, already forcing Purification. Every time we take a look at this dual lane, Transonics Purification is getting burned, whether it's by Aircougar himself or Myflin's rotation. Myflin also has that Wrath, and it looks like Eager might be trying to group up for this Gold Fury, but the thought is to not throw this game.
Dwurst get caught on the tower, but will use the ultimate. And despite all of the attention being paid to Freya, she's still just behind by 100 or so gold. Transonics definitely playing it well. That's going to force out the ultimate out of Aircougar, and that's a strong move. Here comes the ultimate out of everybody else. Stun from Koiz is going to be purified. Ultimate from Transonics puts Aircougar low, but not low enough. Mid lane, Myflin gets Cloud on. Down goes the jungle.
The ult as well. xCynosurex is able to make it out here. Jellly's made a rotation and the stun on Clow under the tower. He's too tanky though, just gonna be backing off for now. Jellly can't keep up the chase, and xCynosurex gonna body block, making sure he gets out.
Wow, I'm really surprised Jellly didn't elect to transform into the dragon and chase after Clow. Must have heard from Aircougar that the rotation from the duo lane was coming. And you want to talk about pressure on the duo lane, Myflin's been doing it sporadically, getting those purification, but they get one rotation to the duo lane for Most Wanted, and look at all the value they get. They get Chronos ult, they get Chronos purification, and they get Chronos sanctuary. That is a full 2 minutes where Chronos is a sitting duck.
And part of that, the ultimate chase out single-handedly by Transonics, playing it smart, the player that's been jumped on the entire game. So understanding that, and once the ultimate comes out, Transonics makes the call, in comes Koiz, and everything else burned.
I really like that playstyle from Transonics. A lot of players, when they're getting camped, they'll get a little bit scared, and rightfully so, and a lot of times that's the correct play, but still being able to be cautious and then being like, okay, I can gas pedal him here. There's a lot to be said about that mentality.
And Eager are just really the ones being the aggressors right now. Dwurst still has that massive lead over over 1,000 gold now. And Wolves has jumped in place. Though the Brutalize going to chase through the cage. Wolves actually walks back in, trying to cancel it out, wait it out, and then escape back, but doesn't manage to do it as exactly cleanly as he had planned.
I like this call by Eager. They're starting to. They've got a nice 4,000 gold lead, and they're starting to invade buffs. Not looking at the Fire Giant quite yet, or the Gold Fury quite yet, but they're looking to invade buffs.
Yeah, Eager right now. It looks like they're starting to set up for the Gold Fury. I think if we find a pick here, this winds up being a call onto the gold, and it likely will be. Let's ride along with the boys on Eager and see what they've got planned.
Sucks. We could have killed him.
Can't do anything. Back up. This is weird. This is
remember,
weird.
Zhong's beads are down. Zhong's beads are down. Let's do red.
I just want to back. 30 warding. Let's go to red.
Yeah.
Doors up. Oh, no, it's spin.
We need another sentry on gold.
I have one. I'm going right now.
Our right jungle's up.
All right, well, Most Wanted got baited, Eager got baited, and I got baited. I thought Eager really were going for the Gold Fury there, guys. I wanted to see what the players were planning on, but obviously Most Wanted's presence chased Eager away.
I really think they're having a little bit of PTSD from last game. They don't want to make that risk at the Gold Fury. They want to play it safe. They've been winning just by putting pressure across the map. Wolves has got just a massive lead in the solo, and they're pressuring out Transonics, making him feel very uncomfortable. I would like to see them set up a gank into the dual lane because they've been burning those purification, but they haven't followed up. Transonics just keeps getting that cooldown back online.
Right, you can go over there and force the purification all you want, but if you don't take advantage, it really is inconsequential. And I think Eager did kind of want to go for that Gold Fury, and then you hear Jellly say, "Oh, I missed a stun. That sucks." we could have killed that guy. And then after that, the entire gauge is shot because that cooldown is pretty long. So they're just going to reset. They have their opportunity, and that's what's so tough about Smite is that you have so many little windows where it has to be absolutely perfect for you to get off exactly what you want to get off, and it looks like they're going to try and get off a gank on this duo lane, but Koiz is here to support.
Transonics goes up into the sky, and now what was a gank is a counter gank, chasing out the ultimate out of Aircougar, going to push him away out of the lane. The damage going towards Fafnir, not enough to really confirm a kill. Transonics has to decide where he wants to go.
I actually really liked that as Wolves and Dwurst are battling, and Dwurst, his ultimate is online, so he could win this, and I don't think Wolves is going to be able to make it out. He's going to drop the cage, and he's looking to juke out. That's what he's going to do, but he does so absolutely perfectly, too, and then he makes the wraparound again. I still don't know if he's going to be able to escape this well, but he's doing a good job.
It's very, very well played by Wolves. Yeah,
Curse is online.
Perfectly played. He should have the jump up soon, but Transonics not having anything up, getting killed, and that's what I was about to say is that rotation on left lane was not worth at all for Most Wanted because they get Chronos' ult and purification, but Clow isn't done. He wants to keep going.
He just pulls it and everybody surges forward. Jellly, Delta Marine, and Aircougar are going to be taking damage. Aircougar with the Sanctuary exits down south, but Clow deals out a bunch of damage and takes a ton as well. Really, nothing earned, nothing gained, nothing lost for the guys on Most Wanted.
And you can see just that sprint immediately popped by Jellly. They were able to escape out of that range of Zhong, and most of his damage is effectively negated. Now Eager going to take this opportunity. Stride to Gold Fury. Most Wanted waiting in the wings right now, but Eager's got the Wrath, and it's secured.
Yeah, there's nothing Most Wanted could really do right there. Just not enough players.
Nothing they could do, and that was with Dwurst teleport up when Wolves was forced to teleport to that right-hand tower. I'm a little bit surprised that we didn't see Dwurst use it, but now that he has it, they can use it to invade that red buff.
Just look at this graph right now. There is no spike. That was the first Gold Fury. It's just this it's an actual hill where they just keep getting small lead after small lead after small lead. And we're 17 minutes in, and it's a 6K difference. It doesn't really feel like that's the case, but Eager have done such a good job.
And that's the power of stripping away your jungle. It isn't like, it's, okay, we can give this up. They're only on our speed buff. All right, we can give this up. They're only going to get fire elementals. They're only going to get boars. They're only going to get this. But it's like, oh my God, we're down 6K. How did this happen? We never took a fight on our buffs to protect them.
A big deal for Most Wanted is, when was the last time Wolves had to really play? I don't mean down a little bit here or there as Dwurst gets surrounded for the first time in a while. I mean really down. This Odin's level 16 in juxtaposition to the level 18 Ravana on Dwurst. I mean, this is a rare bad game for Wolves.
It does stem from that bad decision making. It's not like he got camped early by the Fenrir.
Right.
He did come over and get the kill, but you saw him pick a fight by the speed buff as Aircougar is going to get dunked on, forced ult, just barely gets it off, and he might look to turn it.
He's actually kind of cut off, and he is going to go aggressive here, but Time Stop's going to miss. Really nice hammer teleport coming out from xCynosurex there.
Out of the range of the banish as well. Very important that Aircougar runs in a straight line, making sure to avoid all of the crowd control available to the Freya.
We're starting to see the most wanted focus this duo lane like Eager was early, but I think it's too late. Look at the gold difference between Cougar and Freya. It's that is that gold fury, but it's also getting that farm.
Look at this. Most wanted completely baited. They rotate back to mid as Eager goes into the jungle, and Eager immediately 180 turn back. It's going to be an uncontested tower. Koiz, though, trying to get aggressive.
Here comes the Krills, or at least the attempts. It looks like Delta Marine able to turn this one around. xCynosurex is forced to run away. Clow gets grabbed, and his ultimate, while in the mouth, takes out Aircougar. Jellly now jumping forward, trying to find the stun, gets the kill. Clow goes down, but Jellly on the wrong side of the wall will find the escape, and everybody from Eager surging forward. Myflin takes out the jungle.
And look at this, the rotation from Wolves as well, just not as impactful as Dwurst. Transonics isolated out on the side. Wolves does manage to answer back, but overall 3 for 2 in favor of Eager. They could still look to do more, but I think they're just going to play it safe. Delta Marine, his ult is down. Dwurst is still up there, though.
Quickly spiraling out of control for Most Wanted. We've seen them come back from a deficit, and it's less about the gold number for me and more about the fashion in which Most Wanted finds themselves down. It's just been so clean, smooth, and systematic for the guys on Team Eager.
It's not only the gold lead, it's the experience lead as well. Look at the level differences. Raijin, 3 levels on Cloud,
Wow.
2 levels on top of Koiz's Jellly,
Wow.
a level for Dwurst. 1 level down actually for Myflin, but he's still impacting these team fights well.
And the main thing is just this build coming out from Clow. He's just got his Wing Blade online. He has almost no magical power in his kit, and we're 20 minutes in. Obviously, there's a significant amount of base damage from Zhong, but it's still just not that 100 to 0.
And that makes him top kills on the team. That with those 2 conversations, that's a problem.
And that was the problem that we were talking about with the Cloud build 1.0 that he's going with. That's why he was going that Doom Orb on Vulcan. But Doom Orb is just so risky on Zhong because it's not like a Vulcan where you can sit in the back and just throw meatballs and hit backfires and launch your ultimate. You gotta be face tanking it. And so going for this like kind of tanky, but not tanky enough, but in kind of damage, but not enough damage. You got to pick one or the other.
There's no direct build path that he's gone into. It's much like those hunters who kind of mix the penetration and the crit and the attack speed. Like that style, it's not very effective against anyone.
And that's why a lot of mid players don't like playing Zhong right now, because the builds that are popular aren't popular on him.
Mid-tier 1 tower getting aggressed on by the guys on Eager. Stun from the support, stun from the jungler. Will chase the guys off just a little bit. And here comes the defense. Out comes the cage. That's going to be trouble. Fenrir not going to be as effective as he was earlier. Most Wanted now trying to get the upper hand. Transonics comes to the left-hand side, finds a kill on the Delta Marine, and has the combo available. However, Dwurst's rotation proves fruitful. Takes out Cloud.
Sprint is popped as well. Transonics by himself. Wolves and Koiz trying to close the gap. They're going to be body blocking as best they can, and somehow Transonics stays alive. Myflin's the one who actually falls. Aircougar getting turned on as well as Wolves pushes forward. Transonics is still battling Dwurst. Dwurst does manage to finish off finally as Transonics was left alone from the rest of his team.
Beautiful play by Wolves in that engagement right there. Able to find friends, able to find foes, and just drop down the ultimate, and more importantly, still use his damage this late in the game to success.
Just too much grouping on top of Freya or Clow. Whoever they're going on, Koiz is there to heal them, and it's taking them too long to burst these targets, and then they're starting to lose the fight.
Look at xCynosurex just coming on from the side. Aircougar has no idea. The double tap and the bird bomb connects. Aircougar is eliminated. xCynosurex on full retreat. Dwurst chases him down 2-on-2. Tanky targets against tanky targets, and I don't think anyone's going to be winning this at a tower.
Eager has to be more careful because we're getting to the point right now. Dwurst is carrying these team fights for them. He is just decimating Most Wanted basically single-handedly because his DPS isn't getting in there. They're either dying or getting zoned out. And so we're eventually going to get to the point where Dwurst is going to be less impactful because it's not early to mid-game Ravana anymore. Everyone's going to hit level 20 and he won't be able to do whatever he wants. So Eager needs to be picking their fights more carefully.
And that is a much more drastic version of what we saw last game. Eager didn't have somebody dominating the game the way Dwurst is right now, but Eager in general, their composition composition was powerful for the moment, and then as it got later, the Vulcan and the Freya were able to take over. Most Wanted, without the Vulcan, they still have that opportunity with the Freya.
I don't know about this itemization choice coming out of Dwurst. It looks like he went for the Brawler's Beat Stick so far ahead that he's electing to go for a pure offense item, trying to shut down the healing from Guan Yu.
And yeah, I mean, you really do need to shut it down. You can see the curse online for him as well. He's the anti-Guan Yu this game.
Myflin over here trying to get some damage. Looked like he might have even been zoning. You're trying to face around the Gold Fury. Meanwhile, keep an eye on the right-hand side. Most Wanted going to get a free tower for themselves. 500 gold in the pocket. Most Wanted trailing by 7,000 gold. It's been very smooth for Eager.
And that was Eager clearly setting up for a Gold Fury there. You could see, like you said, Myflin on that Zune duty. The rest of the team looking if anyone could get picked off. And Wolves are just sitting there split pushing. He did go to the TP eventually. We didn't really mention that earlier. And so no one on Eager wanted to defend it.
Eager right now starting the gold. Let's ride along with the blue team and see what they've got to say.
D-group, D-group.
They're on me, they're on me.
Look at Thor.
Thor. Zoning Thor. Thor, let's go.
Got him. Okay, Sean.
I'm here. I help.
I'm in the Odin cage, I'm in the Odin
I have a
cage.
good ult. Who on? I'm on Guan.
Kill Guan.
Guan.
Alright.
I stumped him.
He's
Nice.
dead.
Crazy.
I'm looking for
That's my... Both my actors are down. I stunned Odin. I'm dead.
I
I'm
have
probably
to
gonna
back.
die here.
Do you have
I need help,
jump?
I need help. No, I don't have it.
I have to back.
Move.
He just jumped. Nice. You live. Kill Odin.
No, I'm still dead. What? How am I alive?
I'm
No!
looking at Clow.
You need to deal with Freya.
Alright, I'm coming for Freya.
Where's Freya?
We let Freya free cast.
You can still get him. Nice job.
Nice skill.
You guys can do good. You guys
Finish him up.
I think the biggest thing that we heard right there was Most Wanted screaming for Transonics as he gets the kills on the tower.
Dwurst is carrying. You were actually right. He killed 4 players. He killed 4 players in that engagement. That is absolutely absurd on that cleanup.
But what I was talking about earlier is already starting to come to fruition. Dwurst is carrying the team fight still, but Transonics is starting to hurt. And you heard Eager immediately identify the problem there. We just let Freya free cast, and she just decimated Jellly, decimated Eager Aircougar as well.
This isn't free, and Eager know it. They're not even going to have the risk. They already have the lead. They just completely dropped the Gold Fury. Going back to that fight, though, that went really well for the start of Eager. They actually took out xCynosurex at the beginning of the fight here as Dwurst is in a little bit of trouble here, and I think he might fall without his ult.
Yeah, he's got a lot of people surrounding him. Matt Koiz wants to confirm it with a stun, but Dwurst will find the jump over the wall as Matt Koiz waits too long.
Myflin, oh man, Eager just kind of walking in one at a time here, and it's going to be a double tap. Purification should still be down for Myflin, but good stun by Jellly onto Wolves.
I want to point something out. When we first joined the calls of Eager, they knew exactly what xCynosurex wanted to do, and the plan was let's go on the Gold Fury, and then as soon as we got it to comp, we heard D group. They were making sure that they don't get landed on by the Thor. That was the call from the beginning.
It was executed perfectly, like you said.
Yep.
A great start to that fight for Eager, but they get the kill early and then they don't pay attention to the Freya. And Most Wanted is in a tough spot because Dwurst is doing just so much in these team fights, but he's still at the point where you really can't focus him, but we're getting there. Freya now level 20, has Obsidian Shard online, as well as the Bancrofts and Telkine's Ring, and she's already working on a Rod of Tahuti.
And you can see Dwurst knows this as well. He's actually started to itemize into the Wing Blade, so if he is hit by that Pulse Irradiate or any other of the slows on the team, he's going to have that speed up and be able to juke out much easier.
And as we talk about momentum and the mental aspect of the game, Most Wanted have to really stay in it. And like I said, that's why I pointed that out. You could hear Most Wanted cheering for Chris. That's Transonics. They're trying to make sure that he's staying awake, available. xCynosurex going to make sure that Eager are a little bit of awake, stands on the backside, and chases everybody all different directions.
Just going to be a reset overall, though. Myflin quickly jumps out. He does have to worry about Wolves coming in, and Delta Marine's isolated. He knows it. Has to Thunder Crash away here.
Look at the focus onto Freya. Dwurst, Jellly, both immediately diving him, but he's going to go up into the ultimate and deal as much damage as he can while staying safe.
Dwurst in some trouble now, surrounded, but I mean, does that mean he's in trouble? I'm not too sure about that. Again, focus on Transonics, like Aggro pointed out, completely chased out of the fight while Jellly gets the kill onto Clow.
Just up by himself once again now, and the rest of Eager can start training down these people who are isolated by themselves. The attention's on to Wolves, but he's a little bit too tanky, and even Dwurst has been pulled off as Eager start this Gold Fury.
Transonics needs to be careful. No ultimate or relics available, and there
The
it
double
goes.
time stop.
Just perfect engagement there by Jellly, identifying that perfectly. Matt Koiz going to fall to Dwurst as well. And now Raijin still has his ultimate available.
He actually taunted Wolves as well. He finds it, but he turns back to the Gold Fury. The team doesn't want to really fight with Wolves. 1v5. Wolves is still here. He recognizes better, though. Jumps away. Myflin right after him. Dwurst right on top of him. And there goes the cage. Can't even make it out, and he barely does. Myflin still trying to get the kill, but he misses the brutalize. And actually, xCynosurex is going to be split pushing.
All the while, xCynosurex pushing down that middle tower, forcing the teleport out of Robin. This Gold Fury should still fall in Eager's favor, and that is the power of just saying, all right, guys, I'm sick of getting killed by Freya. Let's just kill her instead. You saw how deep they dove, and it left Clow alone in that front line, and he was picked off entirely.
Mid-game adjustments, game of adaptation, Eager finding the necessary things that they have to change about their playstyle in order to wind up on top. You can see sort of right around here, the early 20s, as we're almost at a half hour, that's when it starts to level, because most Wanted are answering back with those kills on Transonics, and as soon as they figure out, that's when we start to step up again.
Trans, I feel for you, bro. I've been there so many times against Eager, and like, there's just nothing you can do if they play it right. With the type of gods they have, with the type of dive comp they have, that Fenrir, Ravana, Fafnir, you can't peel it. You just, no amount of peel, especially with this particular roster, can save you. Chach will tell me, he's like, yo, Papo, I'm sorry, I tried.
It's killer be killed at that point,
yep.
Right? And that's what the Freya's got to go for. She does have the Bancroft, so a little bit of lifesteal on top of her passive, as well as the Rod of Tahuti, but no amount of lifesteal is going to be able to keep Clow alive, as Dwurst is still just so deep in between the tier 1 and 2.
xCynosurex going right on up, trying to find safety for his teammates. Double stun as the dunk comes right on down, forcing the Seg. Perfect wall, forcing a jump out of Wolves, and there's the kill on Aircougar. Transonics making the rotation right up into the ultimate nice and early, and Wolves gonna finish off Delta Marine. That's gonna set it up. Let's listen to Most Wanted as they take him down.
Mid Phoenix, mid Phoenix, mid Phoenix.
Can we get it or no?
Yeah,
we can.
We got heals, yeah.
Heal 2, heal 2, heal 2. I do.
Nice fucking job.
Keep going, keep going. Be careful. Get tower. Heal every second, 7 seconds. Heal every 7 seconds.
Get Phoenix, go fire. Get Phoenix, go fire. We got 40 seconds.
Let me take it.
I don't know, yes, Hog.
Yes, Hog?
Yeah, no, we can.
Phoenix gold, that's safer.
I have heal 5.
Goes down.
Goes down.
Just try to get it.
Reset. Look for buffs, reset. Look for buffs, reset.
Get right.
No.
just
Don't
fire
overstay.
this
Don't
way.
overstay. Don't overstay.
He's chasing you,
The 500 gold isn't worth it. The 500 gold isn't worth it.
Yeah.
We got speed. Nice.
Yeah, get double
Nice.
RP.
Wolves was the key to that win for Most Wanted, that engagement in the mid lane. So what he did was he actually found Raijin very early, and then he didn't cage him. He didn't jump. He literally just stood right next to Raijin as everyone else was pelting damage into Delta Marine. The second the Thunder Crash comes out, before Raijin even lands, Wolves is already in the air. The second it comes down, the ring is out, nowhere for Delta Marine to go, and then once Delta Marine falls, that's most of the damage on Eager's composition, and then it just slowly, they take out that one player at a time.
Transonics also able to come in towards the end of the fight. It's tough to get focused whenever you aren't there for 66% of the fight. And then he's just able to clean up with that ultimate as well. But you're right, perfectly timed jump by Wolves, locking down Delta Marine, who just wasn't able to survive long enough. He also popped his Sanctuary way too early.
And then as far as the outside of the line stuff, I mean, Most Wanted, they're down by a slew. Everything's been going Eager's way, but still keeping the morale up. So important. You can see how excited they were. As soon as they get a kill, let's go, just waterfalling down that lane.
And I think Dwurst's effectiveness is falling off. He was 6 slotted about 5 minutes ago, and he's just not having that same impact. He's gone into the brawlers to deal with the anti-healing, but I still don't think it's enough burst damage.
He's got to sell that brawlers. He was ahead. It was great. It worked well in that one team fight, but now it's to the point where he's got to sell it. You have the Divine Ruin online for Raijin now. Let him take over the anti-Guan responsibilities. You need to be tankier so that you can sit on Freya.
Most of Eager still trying to battle in, and Most Wanted, they were able to actually reduce that gold lead by about 5,000, and Thor's in the air looking to find a target. It's deep into the backline onto Aircougar, quickly purifies out, but Cyno's way too deep right now.
And what a fantastic wall double tap combo, not enough to find the kill, and he'll fall himself. Delta Marine just channeling the damage right on through. Myflin does the same, takes out one. Cloud's ultimate's channeling. He's bringing everybody low, but not low enough. Aircougar seals the deal. 2 players alive for Most Wanted, likely a fire giant.
Most Wanted was too eager. They were actually just too eager.
Sometimes when you're behind and then you win a fight, you're like, yeah, we can keep winning fights, but you're still behind. Now Matt Koiz trying to get in there, just going to fall for nothing. Koiz, Wolves not going to be able to contest this as well. That's a free Fire Giant for Eager, and what a perfect fight for Delta Marine. Goes up into the ultimate, bursts the correct target, kills xCynosurex immediately, but then doesn't throw his ult charges away. He still had 2 shots left in it, waited until Transonics stepped up, and then did half his health, and Transonics had no idea where he was.
Just
no clue whatsoever.
Look at this, 4 and 7 on Transonics. That's the thing about Freya. If she's left untouched, just like you heard from Eager, you just lose. But the second you start paying attention to her, she is shredded. Didn't even get his relics off.
And that's because he didn't see Delta Marine. He was tucked away in that little corridor by his back harpies, just raining shots, not even worrying about CC. There was no CC. They wouldn't have done anything with CC. There was no one else around him. He just did half his health, and then Myflin was able to jump in and clean it up.
And that goes on to just looking at relics as well, that goes back onto there was no pressure from Most Wanted onto Delta Marine that fight. He got all 4 bursts off. He took out xCynosurex, Half-Life Transonics, and he didn't have to burn his relics. And that wasn't just because he was too slow. And he was just never pressured.
And you mentioned it that last fight. What was so great about it? Wolves staying on Delta Marine and not allowing him to be, by himself, able to rain damage from the back. That time didn't work out, and they lose the fight. That's no coincidence.
Positioning as well, making sure everybody's hit. He's the one with the Divine Ruin. That's going to stop a lot of what Guan Yu wants to be able to do. And by spreading the damage amongst the entire team, not necessarily looking for a single player to isolate, that makes sure everybody is touched by the MS.
I want to see Eager play this safe, right? So they get the Fire Giant, they take out the 2 tier 2s, they've got Gold Fury and the Jungler Strip. There's no reason to try and force these Phoenixes just yet. You could probably back everyone buys their last item as well, and power pots at this point.
I agree with you, but it looks like they're going to elect to go for that left-hand Phoenix instead, leaving that Gold Fury up. But again, with their Tower Siege, with that Fafnir ult, he can go into the ultimate, pop the Coerce on multiple people, and Aircougar is going to do a ton of damage to the Phoenix.
Most Wanted's got to defend against this one. Like we said, they took the middle lane Phoenix, and Eager trying to figure out which side they want to go. They're splitting up right now, 3 on the left, 2 in the mid. We'll see where these guys are headed. Still don't want to commit. There's Myflin jumping in. Not really commit either as Dwurst still in the mid lane.
Eager still seeming like they're trying to make a decision on this, on whether they want to force the fight or play passive. They're trying to split the opposition right now. You can see Jellly just in between the 2 Phoenixes while Transonics sat on the right. We saw Delta Marine on the left. They don't want to take the full 5-on-5 fight. They want to isolate out a certain member.
But Most Wanted knows that now. All they're doing is losing time on that Fire Giant.
There's the ultimate in, and everybody's going to jump. Let's follow Eager on the fight.
I want Thor.
Got him.
I got Thor.
Watch out for Zhong Queen. Zhong Queen.
I got him.
Kill Zhong.
Whoa, let's fucking go. God, Clow, you're trash. Kill these idiots. Let's go.
Let's go.
Trans, Zhong, end. You heard the comms there, just Eager adapting to the playstyle, starting to focus out that Freya. Then they have their second priority target, just really well played team fights from them.
And it all just started going wrong once Most Wanted picked that fight by Eager's speed buff. They had won that fight previously. Like I said, sometimes you get in your head, you're like, yes, we won the fight, but you don't realize why you won the fight. They won that fight the previous time because they took the right fight. That was not it, and they got punished for it heavily.
I think Most Wanted were lacking a tool. They were lacking big burst damage, AoE damage. I don't like the Zhong Kui pick. I understand that it's a comfort choice for Clow, but it's a very different brand of mage that doesn't seem to fit in with the composition that we saw today.
It's just really tough to protect a Zhong that's in front of 3 people and your Freya that's trying to flank around the side. You know what I mean? Whereas if he's on Vulcan, maybe they can group just enough to get healed at the same time, peeled for at the same time. But Jellly did a great job just engaging onto Transonics. Look at him, just ignoring everyone else, looking at Trans. And that's the power of Fafnir, is that you're kind of like an additional solo laner whenever you're a dragon.
And just right here, just the teams. This was, I think, one of the earlier fights that Eager were able to pick up and then just go the Gold Fury from there. That, I think, was that first Gold Fury. We were like, oh, wow, they have a 6K gold lead, right?
Yep.
And it kind of just came out of nowhere. Then they won one more fight, found themselves 8K ahead. then 10k ahead after another fight, and it did get worrisome when Most Wanted did have that wipe. A really good job of controlling Delta Marine there by Wolves in the mid lane. It was reduced to 5k, but then Most Wanted immediately just threw that lead away.
So we talked a lot about how Most Wanted, sometimes when you win that fight when you're behind, you think that you can take a bunch of other fights and you can't. There's another side of that coin, right? It's Eager has to know that, okay, we lost that last fight, but we know what went wrong, and we can still win the next one, and that's exactly what they did, putting themselves in a position to win that fight by their speed buff.
Certainly a big deal coming out from these guys. The series is tied 1-1. Keep in mind, this is a best-of-5 series, and that'll crown the victor for the summer split. But it's not all done after this one. Of course, we'll flow into the fall split later on. So many things on the Console League schedule. You can see relegations are going to start pretty much immediately. And then right after that in September, that's when we get into the fall split. It's going to be a long period of time where the players get to play their regular season games.
The relegations are going to be in Europe. The bottom 1 SCL team, not the bottom 2, against the top 2 Face-It CC in a 3-man round robin. Then North America, it's going to be the bottom 2, not the bottom 1, facing off against the top 2 Face-It Challenger teams. And that, again, a 4-team round robin. Fall split is going to be identical to the summer, where there's 4 teams in Europe, 6 teams in NA. Europe plays each other 3 times, and NA plays each other twice.
Challenger Cup runs side by side, just like it did last time, presented by Face-It. They'll be figuring things out, and those top players will go ahead and fight on the gauntlet. That'll take place in October, and that's how you see how the Challenger Cup guys match up to the best of the best in the Pro League.
Gauntlet is going to be the identical thing from SPL, where the top challenger team that's going to be, occurring during the fall split will then face off against the bottom SCL, then the next SCL, then the next SCL. And from there, we'll find all the teams into the SCL fall finals. That's going to be the 8 best SCL teams in the world. It's going to be the top 4 from NA, as well as the Gauntlet team from NA, the top 2 from Europe, as well as the Gauntlet team in Europe. And then it's going to be 2 groups of 4. They're going to be facing off in the top 2 from each group advance on SWC.
From there, we head into the Fall LAN, which will have a very interesting and fun way to break it down. And then, of course, Worlds.
Just it's going to be the same thing. They're just a 4-man bracket winner, going to be crowned the champion.
So just one more time to break it down nice and easy for you. Relegations, we're going to see some of the best of the Challenger take on the lower end, I don't want to say the worst, the lower end of the Pro League to see who winds up representing the Smite Console League in the fall split. That's pretty much the regular season, and it'll go head-to-head against the Challenger Cup. Gauntlet is how your Challenger Cup players get involved. Fall LAN is the equivalent of what we're doing this weekend later on, and then, of course, the World Championships.
There is a lot of information that we just packed for you. Do not worry, though. We'll have a full detailed post here in the upcoming days if you weren't able to fully follow along.
Yeah, I think I got a little lost.
I was confused halfway through, too. It's a lot of information, but there's a lot of console games that are going to be happening in the fall, and I think that's what everyone's going to be most excited for.
Make sure to follow us at Smite Pro and, of course, esports.smitegame.com. That'll figure everything out as far as how all the details are concerned. And if you don't want any, and if you just want to boil it down to the bottom line, hi-rezexpo.com. Buy tickets to see your favorite teams at Hi-Rez Expo. It's the biggest deal, Smite World Championship. Huge, huge event.
It's dope. That's all I got to say.
Thank you.
How was it last year? How was it last year?
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I had a great time.
I remember. When did you play on stage?
I did not.
I'm going to save you, Aggro. You might not be able to play on stage, but you can play at home. And if you do, all the gods are free. Double Worshippers, 75% off all boosters, should you go ahead and pick one up. And then 3 first wins of the day. Good luck. Gets you an Enigma chest. So a lot of fun stuff going on as far as that's concerned. Even you guys at home can have fun. It's not just all about Eager and Most Wanted this weekend.